with my guest, Barrister LC Eniola, who would be joining us in the conversation. I'd love to know, what do you think? What do you make of this? Should the courts allow for a live telecast of the court proceedings? Would it make any sense to you? Would it make any sense to you? Do you prefer it? Would you prefer to see the live cases in court, live proceedings in court? I'd love to hear from you. Barrister MOC and your lives joining us. Barrister, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, my brother.
I'm glad you're here. Somehow, let's begin with the request by the People's Democratic Party and the and its presidential candidates, as well as Labour Party, asking the courts to allow for the broadcast of proceedings in the courts, the Election Petition Tribunal. Especially, what do you make of that? Do you think that it would in any way enhance transparency, in judicial matters in this country? Do you think that it would try to, salvage the image of the judicial arm of government in this country? What do you make of the arguments put forward to say let's broadcast the proceedings in court?
Yes, so basically, it is clear that having these proceedings publicly broadcasted, would further strengthen our judicial process. Yes, it is going to be in the interest of justice to open these proceedings to the general public, because, like it is said, you not just want to have justice carried out, but you want to show that justice is actually carried out. And then if you look at one of the issues in Nigeria, which has a lot to do with ignorance in courts, people don't read the full judgment, people don't really get to know the details, and they begin to conclude on issues. Point in issue is the Imo State Election Petition Tribunal years back. People are wondering, saying, "Oh, why will the court skip number one, and land judgment on number four?" But if that proceedings was made public, those questions would not have arisen, because it would be clear. The reason, the ratio descent, the reason for the decision would be clear to everybody, that the court is not Father Christmas, and the court will only give to you what you ask. So to erase suspicion, in fairness and in good conscience, it would be reasonable for some sort of controlled public hearing, possibly invite one or two media houses to broadcast live, because for security reasons, everybody cannot be in the courtroom. So we're in a media-powered post-COVID world. They should accredit one or two, three media houses to come in, and broadcast proceedings live, because it's a matter of national interest. But again, it's at the discretion of the five gentlemen who would be the ones to decide how the proceedings should go.
Interesting. But then, would this some level somehow influence the outcome of the judges or of the courts, considering the fact that many people may be watching this and also preempting the decision of the courts. Recall that other judges as well may be watching and having friends in court who are sitting on that panel. They may just call them and say, looking at this argument, this should be the way that judgment should go. Wouldn't that influence the decision of the judges, considering the fact that if everyone is watching, they're going to be also passing judgments, and the courts of public opinion may actually sway the judges in a certain way, having them to pander or even play to the gallery?
Yeah. Public opinion, our customs are part of how legal practice develops. However, there's what we call from coding. I mean, in a sui generis matter such as this, every averment, every argument of parties is going to be front-loaded to the court, and it's just going to be a time of submission. The issues for the issues for deliberation will not be too distant from the constitutional provision, whether stuck to the provisions of the Electoral Act, whether what was uploaded at the polling units to the IREV is what was actually collated, and what. So these are some of the mathematical and constitutional issues that will be thrown up, and those parties have already settled issues. They've already joined issues, so it's clear. The only reason why, for me, the trial should not be locked in, it should be open, is for best practices, transparency, and show that justice is not just carried out, but to be clear and open to everybody that, look, we're not just doing this, but you can see that we are giving to whoever receives judgment favorably his or her due.
Now, looking at this, all of this is subject to the court's decision. But however, let's look at the way that, courts have been held in, previously in this country. It seems like we have a situation where sometimes even media people, journalists, are held in contempt of courts because the judge feels, look, the media should not be, in my courtroom. We've had a situation like that where 3 journalists, I think, some years ago, were detained for over 3 hours because the judge felt the court is not a public place where anyone can just walk in to, cover proceedings. Now, looking at that and considering Section 36, subsection 3 of the Constitution, it says the proceedings of a court or the proceedings of any tribunal relating to the matters mentioned in subsection 1 of this section, including the announcement of the decisions of court or tribunal, shall be held in public. Looking at this, the argument that people have put forward is that those who come to witness proceedings in court do not generally signify the public or the Nigerian public, especially in cases like the presidential elections. So there's need for everyone to see, what's going on. However, some other people are of the opinion that if people walk into the court, no one stops them. Nobody asks them what their tribe or religion or ethnicity, and so it is considered the public. Where do you stand with that argument?
Yes, so my brother, it's clear that the public, as captured by that law, has to do with holding proceedings in a public place, which a courtroom forms part of. A courtroom is a public place, just like a library is a public place. Just like a market is a public place, just like a motor park is a public place. But you see, there's still a restriction or some self-control, because, for instance, if you want to come into a market, you must be having business to transact, and you must be transacting within the stipulated hours of business. Now, if we talk about a library, for instance, as a public place, we're talking about a place where you come in with proper accreditation. So if you're not a member of a library, even if it's a public facility, you cannot enjoy, what that atmosphere has to offer. So in this case, my personal view, again, is that it still sticks with the discretion of the 5 judges of this election petition tribunal, the 4 gentlemen and the 1 lady who is sitting over it to decide how the proceedings would hold. Because yes, it becomes the public place, but it still has to be guidelines on how you come in or who should come. Of course, parties to the case are entitled to come in, but the court has limited sitting space, and that's why we're saying, okay, fine, so that this court will not be too jam-packed with witnesses. We're talking about witnesses by their hundreds. We're talking about documentary evidences by their hundreds of thousands of pages. We're talking about prolonged sittings. Even the judges have to take recess from time to time to freshen up and to refresh their minds to avoid fatigue. So this kind of environment, of course, we know the national importance that it signifies. So it has to still be within some reasoning, some ambience of reasonability. So even if what we publish should include the media space, it is still left for these gentlemen of the bench to decide. And so, look, we are accrediting this and that media house to come in and run a live broadcast, for Nigerians to be carried along. Because again, it's important Nigerians to be carried along. But I don't want us to put too much of energy on this. I don't want us to put too much of energy on this. They should do the right thing, and we just have to trust the process. We just have to trust the process.
Now let's talk about transparency as well as the confidence of Nigerians in the judiciary. I'm guessing that if Nigerians actually had so much confidence in the Nigerian judiciary, they wouldn't be requesting, or we wouldn't be expending so much energy talking about a live telecast of the court proceedings. Now, looking at that and putting it side by side with a 2020 report by the ICPC that said that about 9.4 billion naira exchange hands in bribery for judgments within 2 years, 2018 to 2020. Where does the judiciary stand in terms of public confidence, the confidence of Nigerians in the judiciary? We saw just a few days ago a UK court pass hand judgment or ruling on a Nigerian senator, Ike Kwerimadu, the former deputy Senate president, and you didn't have people saying, "Oh, the court's decision was flawed in any way." People could literally read the judgments of the courts in clean, plain English. Unlike what we have in Nigeria, where there's a lot of legalese in, when you pick up a certified true copy as an ordinary Nigerian, you may not even be able to understand what's written there. You may have to go to look for, legal dictionaries and all that to be able to understand some of these things. Where do we stand when it comes to the confidence that Nigerians have with the Nigerian judiciary as of today, and what can the courts do? What can the judiciary do to, salvage itself?
Yes, so my beloved brother, I agree with you that the judicial process in Nigeria is evolving. I agree with you that in every system, there are different elements you can find. But I don't completely agree with you that judgments are difficult to read and understand. I've taken the pain to go through voluminous judgments of courts, and they are all in plain English, in plain terms that any educated person can understand. The challenge here is that Nigerians will not read. Nigerians will not read. Even the Ikorimadu case. Nigerians, I assure you, have not read that judgment. Maybe you count on one hand, Nigerians that have taken the pain to actually read this judgment.
Well, again, the judgment was live, broadcast. Many Nigerians have that event in their devices. They watched and could see what it was, what the reasons for, or the legal reasons behind, whatever decision the courts took.
Yeah, because what I watched on social media was quite different from what the court in the Korimadu's case, but I don't want to go there. Basically, what we are talking about here is that the facts and the averments and what have you are always in the judgment, and Nigerians need to just trust the process because, yes, the judiciary is not perfect, just like the executive is not perfect, the legislative arm is not perfect, the local government, when you talk of the tiers of government, are not perfect, but the interest of the Nigerian people today in governance is actually what this public airing of these proceedings should really consider that, look, Nigerians before today, demonstrate a high level of political apathy. Nigerians are naturally not interested in what happens in their country. But today, there's a reverse. There's a national spirit. You look at the APC followers. You look at the PDP followers. You look at the Labour Party followers. You look at the NNPP followers. You see that general enthusiasm. And in spirit of this, of course, the judiciary, I know, would have a way to accredit one of the media houses, to come in and do live broadcast to carry Nigerians along. It happened some time back in 2000, 2001 during the Okuta panel. Everybody could not go to the public hearings, because it was a concentrated, prolonged proceeding. But as much as you can connect to NTA or AIT at the time, you could follow the proceedings, and most people will rush back home from school to get home by 3 o'clock, come back from work to be able to tune in and follow the proceedings. And that also went a long way to restore the confidence in the democratic process, and it helped to heal and restore some sort of. So for me, it's the interest of justice that these proceedings, I know that everybody cannot be in the courthouse, because the courthouse is just a room with a few chairs, and we're talking about 200 million people. So the best way in the public would be to open it to the to media houses, accredited media houses, to broadcast, to run live broadcast, and then run live feeds on the internet to carry Nigerians along, both at home and in diaspora, so that it further enriches our democratic practice. So of course, I urge the justices, Justice Tamani, Justice Ada, and the other 3 justices. They are people of good conscience. They have earned their name in the judiciary. I urge them strongly to consider, a public media ventilation of this election petition. It would be ungodly for Nigerians, 200 million Nigerians, to be locked out of proceedings of court. And it would also give rise to speculations. It give rise to third-party inferences where people say, oh, it was said or they told me. And that's not good for the polity right now. So the best thing is to open up the trials, let Nigerians hear what Learned Council of Petitioners are saying, let Nigerians see what the defense council, both the APC team and the INEC are raising. Let's see some of those documents tender that Nigerians can be carried along. Gone are the days where you have to travel by road or by train 20 hours to be at a place. Now, with the click of your finger, the media has made it possible. So yes, we urge the learned judges, learned justices of the Court of Appeal to accredit 2 or 3 media houses. That would do for credibility, for transparency, for equity, for fairness, for openness. To also make clear that justice is not only carried out, but we show that justice is actually carried out.
Just on a lighter note, it begs me to ask, the fact that broadcast organizations make a lot of money from live broadcasts. Who would be paying for this? Would the courts be required to pay for this, or would those who are, in court, be the ones to pay for this? In case,
my brother, those media houses are capable to, make this as their contribution, for the country that they are making so much money in, and for the country and the people that they love. So again, even if the judiciary, we have the body of ventures, we have the NJI, they don't shy away from this kind of responsibilities. They have budgets to carry this kind of cost. So I don't think payment should be a challenge in the case.
All right.
The judiciary should be able to carry it. The media houses should be able to find a way to make money assuming they are not even paid for the service. Just the views alone is sufficient.
Interesting.
You have 10 million views on YouTube or whatever platform. It's sufficient to raise money for the media.
I'm sure they'll be able to figure out a way, especially if the courts, if the judges decide to go that way. But then let's talk about the Osun State election. Verdict yesterday passed, handed down by the Supreme Court, affirming Governor Ademola Adeleke as governor of Osun State. Some people say that should, that judgment would set precedents for, election matters in this country, considering the use of technology. What do you make of that?
Yes. So, my brother, the judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of Adeleke confirms that the judiciary has come a long way, and it has taken its place. The electronic evidences and some sort of electronic testimonies were used. But you see, I just want to say that Nigerians should trust the process. Nigerians should trust the process. Nigerians should trust the process. Rome was not built in a day, and we need to have faith in our system. Even if the system doesn't give us all that reason to have faith in it, we just have to have faith because we don't have another place to call our home.
Interesting. We're not delving into the merits of any case because, well, they are sub judice at the moment. But we'll look at the fact that even as much as people say that Nigerians don't have confidence in the judiciary, or some people may have lost confidence in the judiciary and all, it seems like the big players, the big actors in the polity, seem to have some level of confidence in the courts. If not, they wouldn't even be going there. We're seeing even parties like the All People's Movement, APM, going to courts, asking the courts to put aside the elections. If they didn't have some confidence in the courts, I don't think they would be going there. Put that in one box and move on to look at the fact that in the coming years, should we continue to have a situation where after every round of election, people go to court to decide the outcome of the elections? At what point would the courts put paid to this issue of the courts always being the last resort, or being the ones to decide who becomes winner of an election? After we've spent so much money conducting elections, with a body called INEC, the election management body in the country.
My brother, two things. Number one, Nigerians understand that the court is the penultimate resort. After the court, then it is God that will judge. So Nigerians will exhaust that opportunity, that option. Again, Nigerians are very bad losers. Generally, Nigerians are not good sportsmen. It's difficult to see a Nigerian even play football or watch the match of Arsenal and maybe Manchester United, and Manchester United wins Arsenal. Nigerians who are Arsenal fans, like every other fan around the world, they feel so bad. Nigerians are generally bad sportsmen, and they will always follow up matters to the end. But there must be a winner and there must be a loser. And they entered the process understanding these fundamental facts. So we cannot have two president-elects, and if the court has to disqualify or to announce another winner, then the current winner has to his return certificate to be returned. So that's just what it is. It is what it is. So Nigerians need to realize, first of all, that someone will emerge, and whoever emerges has to be given full support, prayers, and intellectual backing for the best to come out of Nigeria. And again, another election is in another 4 years, so 4 years is enough time to get back to the drawing board, dot the I's and cross the T's. It's not a big deal. We've been in this democratic practice for 20-something years, and 4 years will not destroy it.
Very well said. Well, the conversation continues. We're talking more with MOC Eniola Esquire, legal practitioner. He's been giving us thoughts on some of the issues coming up in the polity. We're talking about the request, for live broadcasts. All of that lies with the judges to decide. But what are the opinions? What is it that Nigerians are thinking in that regard? Would it in any way help the judicial process as well as the issues of transparency in the judiciary? We'll be talking more with my guests. We'll talk about the legislature and the drama coming up in that in the National Assembly as to who would make it to become president of the Senate, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and their deputies. Keep it locked with us. The conversation continues shortly.
This Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
No AC? No problem. We're cooling it down with the freshest hits.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Only $100 you enter. Everybody can win. If you win your game.
You get what you want buy, but you don't get money. Microwave, TV, I be you want pay never bill. Download Yangabeat from any online store. With 100 naira, fund your wallet. Choose a plan for your Get Pass. Start spinning and winning. The player with the highest number wins the beat. Anything when you want buy, you can beat it and win it. Yangabeat, Nigeria's online marketplace.
You can call us on 091 3000 2014 091 3000 2014.
Are you looking for an internet service that will make surfing on the internet an enjoyable one? Do you want a super fast connection to the internet? Look no further, as Eagles Internet Services is here for you, an effective internet service provider with 99% proven reliability for residential and office services. We provide unlimited internet bandwidth services of different bundles tailored to meet your desires and taste. It is reliable, affordable, with a wide coverage. You can locate them at plot 1719 Cadastral Zone B, Kaura District, or you can call 081 3312 1423 or 09065765969. Eagles Internet Service. Stay connected to everything you love.
Has anyone told you you can talk about your business on radio for just 15,000 naira? Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. The Entrepreneur. Talk your business for just 15,000 naira. Hurry now.
And well, the conversation continues. This is Eagles Outlook on your radio experience you can count on. We've been speaking with MOC Eniola, who is Esquire, who is a legal practitioner as well as a public affairs commentator, joining us in the conversation this morning. Now, before we took that quick pause, we're going to talk about the legislature. The drama that we've seen in the last few days, the APC zoning, and also not just zoning, but micro zoning. National Assembly leadership positions, the Senate presidency, the name mentioned there, Senator Godswill Akpabio. You also have the Speaker of the House of Representatives named as Tajuddin Abbas from the south, from the northwest, and many Nigerians, especially members of the National Assembly, seem to be frowning at this. What do you make of the APC and its leadership, micro-zoning positions for an independent arm of government? What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, when you look at the federal character and the principles of fairness, you will see that zoning or micro-zoning is in the good spirit of federal government headed by President Muhammadu Buhari succeeded to convey federal character. He ensured that he ignored equity, fairness, good conscience, and that really told a lot on heating up the polity, in Nigeria. So if this current leadership is trying to see how to move this thing around, I think they should be commended for that singular act. Even if they are not able to get 100%, whatever they are able to do should be commended. If we have a president-elect, from the southwest, if we have a vice president-elect from the northeast, if we have a Senate president from the south, if we have a speaker from the north, I think it's a step in the right direction. In the last leadership, we had a president from the north, we had a vice president from the south, we had a Senate president from the north, we had a speaker from the south, from the same geopolitical zone as the vice president. We had the Chief Justice of Nigeria from the north. So it was so lopsided and an ugly 8 years of carrying only an ethnicity along, and that's really told it signified danger in the future. So if they can return back to the federal character principles, if they can return to principles of fairness and equity, and let this thing go round, let people feel like they are part of the country. The President Buhari did a very poor job in the last administration in this regard, and if they are trying to zone or micro zone, to get it go around at least a little bit. I think we should try and commend.
The National Assembly members who are aggrieved seem not to be aggrieved at the fact that he was zoned. Their problem is that people's names were mentioned. These are the people that the party and its leadership wants to run the affairs of government, of the National Assembly, instead of allowing them choose for themselves who their leaders would be, even when they want to respect the zones, right?
Yeah,
now, I know that you have vied for the position, to be a legislator in this country. If you were a member of the legislative arm of government and the party, hands down a name or pins it down to one person in the National Assembly, would you have that?
And but even if the party pins it down to one person, you will still be required to cast a vote. And that happens you remember what we call the Saraki phenomenon. When the party said, look, we want this man, and the honorables and the distinguished gentlemen and women went in there and did what they wanted to do. And the party's opinion was a mere view and a mere suggestion, because they achieved what they want, they achieved their objective. So at the end of the day, really the party says, this is the person we are anointing. And those people feel otherwise. They go in there and vote, they choose. Nothing is going to stop that. Nothing is going to stop that. So it's still a democratic process, and the party has just, suggested. The party has just suggested. So it's left for them to go in there, let the candidates test their popularity on the floor of the hallowed floor of the National Assembly, and anybody who comes through wins. Anybody who comes through wins. The party cannot come up and say, we anointed X. You people brought Z. We don't accept. They don't have that constitutional right. At the end of the day, people have to choose who leads them, and that's going to happen in the 10th Assembly.
Very well said.
The party's opinion notwithstanding.
Very well said. Let's bring you into the conversation. You've been listening and you want to make contributions and thoughts, put them forward by calling 09073530044 and 09087668888. You want to send SMS and WhatsApp messages, please make them to 09097054450. I'll bring in a caller quickly. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Abdullahi. Good to have you.
This is Abdullah Mekano calling from Cuba.
Go ahead, let's hear you.
So,
Please.
the speaker has spoken well, but we don't want to see such a National Assembly that is going to be answerable to the executive. Just like what happened to this ninth National Assembly, where Ahmad Lawal, the Jamil Miller now are leading the House. But we have seen where we are in Nigeria now. We just find on every day that being brought to them, but the executive, where Nigeria now has collected a huge amount of money borrowing, which we have never seen in the past. So we don't want to see such a National Assembly again. We want to see a National Assembly where I can oppose something that is not going to favor Nigeria and Nigerians. So, but this is Robert some legislature. Something happened this time around. We don't want to see it. Allow the members to go ahead and choose the best people within themselves. Thank you very much.
Very well, Abdullahi Mekano, thank you very much. And Chooks here. Chooks sent in a message and says, Good morning, greetings, Ihanacho. Your guest also has my salutations. The aggrieved presidential candidates are in court primarily because of their conviction that the February 25 election lacked transparency. So, by all means, let the tribunal proceedings be live. Good to know that the tribunal has agreed to look into it. Chooks, thank you very much for your message. Let's bring in another caller. Hello, good morning. Okay, seems like we're having a problem getting to hear you now. Would have to reconnect with you as well as reconnect with my guest now. What's happening? I'm sorry. All right, let's bring in another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name, please?
My name is Mohammed.
Mohammed, thank you for joining us. Let's hear you, please.
Okay, so sometimes about the issue of the zonal leadership select, we know it's biased somehow, but we're looking at the other way around. At least every other person has, every other as in remaining, they have about 11 seats in South East and South South, which the senators can come together and work something out. But instead of that to do that, they said they are right. That is the problem. The problem is don't put the effort, don't put the blame on the presidency, because at least we have people who have mouth to say something there. But instead of them to do anything like that, they said they are right there. At least if they should start, if 11 senators can start, is 11? No, we're talking about almost like 20 senators, because each state represent like 3 senators, if I'm not mistaken. Arab assemblies are there. So if they can stand and fight for their rights, they will get it. They don't need to come online to say there's no. That's why they have representatives representing them in the Senate level. They have the power to do undo. But what did they do? No, they leave their duty. They are after money and they do for themselves. Let me be truth. But on the north, we will come outside, we will be saying that they are biased in this, they are biased in that. Okay, look at what happened the last time. What do you call former APC party chairman was in the house on the day of election. Is it supposed to be so? No. But they allowed him because of the money they collected, because all of them was bribed. So they said they are right. It's not anything.
How do you know that they were bribed, Mohammed?
If they are not bribed, actually they could have said something. They could have fought against it.
They say they consult amongst themselves.
If that legislature can come out and stand, okay, they go against this, they can work on it. They tell other people others that will support also. But no, what they did is that they need their rights.
All right. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Appreciate you calling in. Now let's get one more caller in before we get back with my guest. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Prince Henacho.
Good morning, Comrade Haruna. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. I think I want to agree with your guest quite in respect to the issue of transmitting the judgment from the tribunal live, so that Nigerians will have sense of belonging of how the judgment goes, and we won't accuse anybody for or the judges for being partisan. So please, we just pray so that they will consider it. They will consider the request from the Labour Party and PDP. Then finally, Prince Hendacho. Why all this permutation we are doing? I think it would be fair for the House to make decision on who will lead them. And I believe at the end of the day, the House will make that decision. They will shock Nigerians because the permutation we are doing outside the House, it won't go well. We want fairness, justice, and equity to Nigerians. So I think let's just be patient and see how the House will make their own decision.
Let's be patient and
thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Haruna. Let's see. Back to you, Barrister MOC and Yola. Let's talk about the what Nigerians are saying. Haruna is of the opinion that we should just hold on and see if the National Assembly would surprise us. But then you mentioned the federal principle, federal character principle, and that has got a lot of Nigerians wondering. The president-elect and what his cabinet would look like. The President Buhari administration has said, has signed into law an act that ensures that whoever is president is able to assemble their team in 60 days from the day of the inauguration. Now, and people are saying, oh, this position will go to so and so person, this position would go to this region and that region and all. Looking at what the way that Nigeria seems to be polarized at the moment, what do you think the president-elect should do in, giving Nigerians a sense of belonging and carrying, that seeming feeling of being a part of the Nigerian states? Looking at the fact that certain regions have conversed, especially like the Southeast, saying they have been marginalized over time. What kind of cabinet should the president-elect be setting up? I know you mentioned, the lopsided appointments by the Buhari administration that so many people have talked about. But then, how do you think president-elect should compose his cabinet so that everyone has a sense of belonging?
Yeah, so whoever is sworn in on the 29th of May has a very tall order. Whoever comes on the 29th of May has a job to do, has a job to bring governance down to the people. That's the first job. The person coming has to, yes, assemble the team in 60 days, but beyond that, assemble a team of people who are passionate for Nigeria as much as they are passionate for their pocket. The last election, in the last 8 years, we only found people passionate about their pockets, and the aviation minister some weeks ago said he spent billions of whatever to buy fire service trucks in the airport. So the last administration was very passionate about enriching themselves, and they lost steam about Nigerian people. So irrespective of where these people come from, they must be passionate about getting governance and the dividends of democracy down to the grassroots. See the local government in Nigeria. The municipals are neglected. Meanwhile, the local governments are the closest point of people to government. You go to local governments today, some of them are kitchened by the governor of the state. The governor appoints whoever he wills, to the caretaker committee chairman, taking instruction from the state house. These are things that should be frowned against. Moving on, these are ways of life that should be denied. Now, whoever comes in should realize that the Northeast and the Northeast have been marginalized in government. This has nothing to do with what they are saying. This has everything to do with reality. From 1960 till date, the Southeast has only had a shot in Nnamdi Azikiwe, a short-lived shot, and a short-lived shot in Aguiyi, General Aguiyi, who was murdered. The same goes to the Northeast. They had a short-lived shot with Tafa Balewa, the golden voice of Africa, who was equally murdered. Now, these two regions have to be brought along in the government. Whoever gets sworn in May 29th should understand that he is not a president of Fulani or a president of Northwest. He's a president of Nigeria. And Buharism mindset of focusing on giving appointments to one region as against 6 regions in Nigeria should not be encouraged. So anybody coming in should know that has a lot of restorative job to do to get Nigerians on board, from the east to the west to the north to the south. Poverty is not regionalized. If you go to the northwest is as poor as the southwest. If you go to the northeast, the road in the northeast are as bad as the road in the southeast. If you go to the south, the south is as hungry as the north central. So please, it has nothing to do with regions. It has everything to do with true leaders. Like Masuli said, true leaders are not rulers. We're tired of rulers. We need leaders.
Very well said. And this is where we'd have to drop the anchors on the conversation this morning. Barrister MOC Eniola, thank you so much for talking with us this morning. We really appreciate your thoughts and time on the program. But before we go, I think we have a message here. I'm just going to read that quickly so that you can maybe you want to respond to that as we go. It says, "My Prince, good morning. Congratulations to Governor Adeleke of Osun State. It is a nice idea if the tribunal proceedings can be televised live so that everyone can have a look at how it goes. We should also be ready to prepare to accept the outcome of the tribunal in good faith. God bless Nigeria." You go on to say, "Kudos to the learned guest in the studio. He really gave us more light and knowledge about legal profession and the judiciary. So the interest of fairness, justice and equity, the trial proceedings should be broadcast live, and also the interest of our nation should also be in the forefront of whatever we do. We don't have another home than ours. God bless Nigeria. God bless Eagles FM." Thank you very much for that one, and we appreciate you as well. Again, thank you, Barrister Eniola. Thank you very much for your thoughts this morning. Let's do this again some other time.
Thank you so much, please.
And then thank you to everyone who's been a part of the conversation this morning. At the top of the hour, 9 tomorrow, we'll come back with fresh talking points on the program Eagles Outlook. Business news comes on right up to now, and we'll get on with the midday extra crew taking over proceedings right after taking over from where I left off. My name is Ihanacho Prince. Remember to think Nigeria first. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye now.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.